Hi there YouTube, it's me, Shonna, making the first video on my personal channel. Finally, took a long time to get here, but I'm finally here. This is my birthday month and SMA Awareness Month. We're gonna celebrate both in the first two videos. Stay tuned. Hi, welcome back. We're gonna talk a little bit about me. If you want to know more about the business Too Taboo for You, you can go to that channel and check it out. Perhaps the first thing to talk about is my disability, the wheelchair, the whole purpose of this show. For the sake of argument, let's just say I have a disability and we're going to cover that in my next episode. The other things you should know about me, since my whole life is not just disability, as much as it feels like it at times, the more important thing is, why did I start this channel as opposed to my other channel? Getting a wheelchair was an eye-opener. Poof! We need to talk about this. I had no guidance whatsoever. I had to learn through trial and error, and I'm hoping that this channel could help other disabled people get up to speed with the things they need to know. Additionally, the bigger eye-opener was discovering how the rest of the world sees disability and wheelchairs. It's been really bizarre and enlightening. But aside from disability, some of the things you need to know about me are, well, that I have two businesses, so to speak. I have my business channel, which is Too Taboo for You, and then my personal channel. It's kind of an important thing going on in my life right now. Quirky, weird things to know about me that I usually share with people relatively early on in getting to know them is that I have three conditions. My disability, the wheelchair, but I also have two other quirky conditions. I am a super taster and I have two-dimensional vision. Let me explain. A super taster is someone who has thousands of more taste buds in the bitter region of their tongue on the sides, which makes anything bitter almost inedible, incredibly repulsive. Sorry everybody, that means I do not get the benefits of things like coffee, alcohol, chocolate. I know, these are the things that keep most people alive. But chocolate is bitter. Well, dark chocolate. Medium chocolate is less bitter. White chocolate isn't actually chocolate, and I love that. No coffee. Coffee is extremely bitter. And some teas. Like, I am a tea fanatic, but only herbal teas. And anything alcoholic. It doesn't mean I don't drink. It just means I don't enjoy it. So I typically have to hide it in fruity drinks, pina coladas and Sex on the Beach and anything sweet to cover up the bitter taste of the alcohol. My two-dimensional vision comes from the fact that as a child, I had crossed eyes and I had eye surgery when I was 5. The problem with waiting until you're 5 years old is that the brain literally rewires itself so that you don't get double vision. Nowadays, they typically put a patch on the baby's eye to keep the brain from rewiring. If you don't get a mixed message, then you don't rewire. Unfortunately, they didn't know that back in the day, so my brain rewired to only use one eye or the other, not both simultaneously. What this means is I have pretty atrocious two-dimensional vision, three-dimensional vision. I cannot tell depth. Everybody else's eyes are overlapping in order to perceive depth. Everything to me looks just like a photograph. And with that being said, you would think I can't drive, except there are a million compensations that I have enacted over the years. I'm not going to get into the details, just trust that I have two-dimensional vision. Those are my three medical quirks, but under the taster category, we're gonna dig down a little more because I'm also a very picky eater. What I love is meat and potatoes. I'm from the Midwest originally, I'm from Michigan, so I'm all about meat and potatoes. Honestly, I've joked with people, well, not actually joked. I've told people that if there's no meat in it, it's not a meal. When someone tries to serve me mac and cheese for a meal, I just look at them like, where's the rest? When somebody wants to go out on a date, I generally will say steakhouse, barbecue, something in the meat category. As I alluded to earlier, I am a tea fanatic. It's an important thing to know about me. I'm particularly going through a fruit phase right now. I've got a couple of peach teas, a cherry tea, a pineapple tea. Ooh, there's a creme brulee tea in there. There's just some really great teas in there right now. The last food-related category that's of significance to me is that I have had a love-hate relationship with cooking. My whole life, I hated cooking. I did have to cook for myself since I was able to see over the stove or able to reach into the microwave, which was kind of new back then. And I think the fact that I was forced to provide food for myself at a young age made me very subliminally resentful. So I hated cooking my whole life. My poor daughter did not have a mom who just spent all of her time in the kitchen cooking away, baking, and no, not me. But then something changed. I started writing a book about food and the corruption of what's happened to food over the years, and politics and money and big agro and all the rest of that stuff. And as I discovered more about food and what's happened to it over the years, I started to look at alternatives to fast food and look at alternatives to convenience food, like prepackaged food at the grocery store. Anything that's on the inside of the grocery store. The fresh food is on the perimeters and the prepackaged crap is in the center. Once I started to learn more about that, I thought, certainly there is a way that we can just make healthy food. What did they do in the olden days? And I learned more and more. Point being, there was a turn for me when I finally decided to look at cooking as something creative and a suggestion. If I look at recipes not as rules, but as some guidelines, then I feel more free to do what I want. I don't like textures of a lot of things. I don't like slimy, like cooked onions. But I do like onion flavor, so I use a lot of onion powder. And cabbage is also bitter, so anything in the cabbage family is out, which means I don't really enjoy most coleslaws. Some coleslaws I like if they've got enough sweet slaw sauce. But what if I made a coleslaw that wasn't made from cabbage? What if I made it from ingredients I actually liked? Like I love radishes. And a daikon radish can shred up and be every bit as crunchy as cabbage could be. How about if I just take a recipe and put all the vegetables I do like that are crispy, put some carrot shreds in there, and some celery, some cucumbers. Oh, ginger is a good one to put in there. Bean sprouts are good too, they're crispy. So I stopped looking at a coleslaw recipe as, all right, I can't have coleslaw, and decided to get creative. That's when my relationship with cooking completely took a different turn. Now I feel like an artist. I feel like an artist picking colors for my palette. I have a vision of what I think might work, and I go in there and try it out. The downside to all of this is I don't seem to make the same dish twice, because each time it's some new ingredient. I'll sprinkle a little of this. Hey, how about some molasses this time? Or how about some brown sugar this time? Until my culinary skills improve, it's a little bit hit and miss here as to whether or not this is going to be a sensational dinner or a dinner. Away from the food category altogether, there are certain things most people need to know about me. A, I have a potty mouth and I love it. Don't try to reform me. Either ignore it, enjoy it, or stay the hell away. And there are 2 official giant holidays every year that I am going to make massive plans around, as should you, and that is Christmas. I am a die-hard Christmas fanatic. I think I have 6 Christmas trees at this point. Last year I got a train to go around the village that I don't have yet, but guess what's coming? Lots of village houses. And the other giant holiday that rivals Christmas is my birthday. Yeah, you heard me, my birthday. My whole life, my birthday was just a big deal. No particular reason, just celebrating me. I think as a kid, you had a party every year, you had presents, you had cake, you had friends over and balloons. It was just such a festive thing when you were a child that I took that as, all right, every year we celebrate me. So I need to tell you that my birthday is coming. This episode will air on August 6th and my birthday is August 8th. So we're gearing up. It's coming. And it's a big one this year. So I'm going to go celebrate, even though we're a little bit in lockdown still. So I'm going to take a trip and go celebrate my big birthday with all my friends. In terms of the things that I get very fired up about, aside from advocacy, I am almost uncontrollably obsessed with business and law. I'm fine with it. I know people that I could have these conversations with who are fine with it also. It takes me a moment when I see someone else glazing over that they are not enamored with my conversation about business, analytics, data. For instance, I'm just bonkers right now about the finite, specific data that I am able to extract from my marketing campaigns. This has been sheer heaven for me in the 4 seconds I am allowed to look at this between all the rest of my working. I've got my spreadsheets going and I am tracking the shit out of my advertising dollars so that I can hone it and become better and perfect it. And not perfect, but get better at really zeroing in on the best place for me to spend my marketing dollars. The law part of this kind of goes hand in hand with the advocacy. I did a lot of legal advocacy for disability discrimination. So I'm passionate about any discriminated group, any minority, any person or persons who are treated unfairly based on their statistics, their age, their gender, their race, their religion, their whatever. Well, this has been fun getting to share a little bit about my quirks. Hopefully this has answered any questions you may have had about me. If you knew me back in the day and were afraid to ask, maybe I've answered some of that. Perhaps if I haven't seen you in a long time, we're now caught up. Well, at least from my side, you'll have to tell me about you. In the next episode, I'm going to cover my disability, which is spinal muscular atrophy, but I'm so excited to be kicking off my channel and changing misconceptions about disability. Bye! Did I mention it's my birthday in a couple days?